Hello everyone, welcome once again to the Hindu Explainer series. I am Kushagra Goel and very warm greetings from Law Prep Tutorial. So, yesterday we had discussed the news about a terror attack taking place use of drones. Now, the NIA and the National Security Guard have found no debris of drones at the Jammu Air Base. So probably the drones were able to successfully go back to the place where they were, and their army has claimed that there are two drones fired upon the Jammu military installation. However, the actual drones themselves have not been found. All right. So there are limited details about the drone attack itself. On the right hand side, the Indian government yesterday released another stimulus package for COVID-19. All right. And this is the first package that the government has announced post the second wave. Now, this is once again a credit assistance package wherein there will be limited outlay from the government, and most of the outlay will be towards credit. All right. The already announced this package already includes the extension of subsidy for food grains. So that is the actual outlay that the government is making. All right. The size of the package is 6.28 lakh crore. All right. Now, we all know that last year we did get a question about the size of the package, right? So it becomes important to put it into perspective. So what is going to happen? 50,000 crore rupees is for credit guarantee to projects, all right, outside metros. This is for health projects. 15,000 crores for public projects to augment pediatric care, ICU bed, oxygen supply, and medical personnel, all right. The maximum interest rate is going to be 7.95, almost 8%. Then there will be an emergency credit line guarantees expanded by 1.5 lakh crore, all right. So that will be the size. 25 lakh small borrowers to get cheap loans worth 7,500 through MSME firms, all right. There will be free tourist visas for first 5 lakh visitors that come into the country. That India is not going to charge a fee for this, all right. Then there is the news about a new study that has taken place in Oxford, all right. This is related to the AstraZeneca vaccine, that in case the gap between the COVID vaccines is actually increased, or the dosage gap is kept 10 months, all right, then the vaccine response is going to be lot more higher, all right. Right now they are being given at a 10 to 12 week gap. This one calls that if given after 44 to 45 weeks apart, the time of immunity or antibodies generated is far more. That is almost 4 times more. Now, all these details do not really matter from the examination perspective, all right, but the concept of news, all right, that is the one that we need to be aware of, all right. So on that note, moving on with the other news, right. So on the front page, dialogue not at the cost of national security. This is once again Indo-China border dispute. Let's see, we are going to continue with dialogue, but that doesn't mean that it is going to be at we are going to let our national security being jeopardized. Then moving on to the editorial section. So the main editorial section, the law of sedition is unconstitutional. This one, written by PDD Achari, calls that the section 124A of the IPC should go. Now, the Kedarnath judgment and the recent judgment of Vinod Dua versus Union of India, both of them held that sedition law as it is still fine. However, it has been watered down. What is the watered down version of it? That now only speech, which is writings or speeches which incite people to violence against government, come within the mischief of sedition, all right. So unless speech and writings tend to cause violence or disorder, there is no sedition, all right. But In case there is speech that leads to this, then that will be sedition. So the editorial calls that, see, this is not even acceptable. Why is it not acceptable? Because it's a violation of basic right to speech. That a law should be seen on how it is implemented, right? How it is being practiced in the country. And as we have noted, that the sedition law is actually used to suspend or compress the right to dissent against government policies. So in that regard, the Supreme Court should now do away and declare the law as unconstitutional, because a law is, whatever the court's interpretation may be, it should also be seen on how it is practiced. And right now it is being practiced in the way that violates the fundamental rights. Then on the left-hand side, a case of no case. The trend of impunity, seditious design of criticism of government is disturbing. This was once again another sedition case that was filed against filmmaker from Lakshadweep, Aisha Sultana. She had also criticized the policies of the administrator in Lakshadweep, and therefore sedition case was filed. Now the case was revoked by Kerala High Court. It claimed that this is not sedition. However, once again proves the point that, see, sedition is actually used not in the case where there has been incitement of violence or anything, but actually to curb dissent against the government policies. Then on the right hand side, reopen the files, reconsider privatization. That, see, in the backdrop of economic contraction which the Indian economy is facing, is prudent to revisit the aggressive privatization of public enterprises. What is it calling? That, see, right now we may not need the progressive privatization that is being pushed by the government. We need to focus on privatizing those agencies that are either running in losses, or rope in the private sector to run these companies and generate profit out of them. That we need to adopt the Chinese model, where public enterprises are also huge and private enterprises are also huge. We don't have to choose either or. Then on the left hand side, war of words. Government should require Twitter to follow rules but not be vindictive for political reasons. So right now Twitter has not complied totally with the new rules of regarding digital media. However, this editorial states that, see, while compliance is definitely necessary, no company is above the law, this should not come at the cost of vindictiveness. The one that is more important for us is rattling foreign investors. What is this? This is related to the Kane Energy and the Vodafone tax dispute. Retrospectively, what has happened in both the cases? India has lost the case. Why has India lost the case? One, because the law has been applied retrospectively, which the Supreme Court of India also called. So India amended the law. However, India was also tied to the bilateral investment treaty with Dutch and United Kingdom, from where both these companies originate. And therefore, under this also, India could not tax the way it has taxed these companies. The arbitration awards call for this. The editorial here for us talks about two things. One, whenever a country does anything that it promised and then does not follow through, it leads to investors questioning the sincerity of a country and declare such an area as non-investor friendly. That is first thing. The second aspect is, in general, it creates inconsistency in terms of what the country wants to pursue, right? We want to come across as investor friendly. We want more foreign investment to come into the country. But right now, despite us losing the cases, we are continuing to file appeal after appeal or not following through with the judgment, which also shows that there is a lack of sincerity towards investors. A big country or a country that wants to primarily focus on investment would get over it, accept its mistake and move on. What has India done? Not only has India not followed through these judgments, amended the law, but it has also now decided to amend the format of its bilateral investment treaties. That's the So this is what the editorial here criticizes. Then moving on the other national news. So India test fired yesterday Agni P missile, alright, a modified version of the Agni missile. This is the P version, which is called as Prime, Alright, this Agni missile has the range of 1000 to 2000 kilometers. It is nuclear capable. Alright, India already has Agni 1 to 5. The fifth one, being the intercontinental ballistic missile, has a range of 5000. So India could launch a missile, a nuclear warhead from India all the way to Beijing in China. Alright, so that is the range. This nuclear missile, alright, is important in the sense of better maneuverability, higher launch speed, alright, and better consistency. So this is an upgraded version. Alright, why is it important? This missile puts India into a triad version. What is triad? Triad is that we can fire a nuclear capable warhead on all three spheres, that is from air, from land, and underwater. Underwater, using the K-15 missiles and the K-4. The K-4 missile is a submarine launched ballistic missile, has a range of 2000 kilometers, right? 3500 kilometers, and right now our INS Arihant uses a missile nuclear capable warhead that has a range of 750 kilometers. All right, all very limited countries are part of the triad. All right, so therefore the Agni P missile, the range 1000 to 2000 kilometers. All right, Agni Prime is the name of the missile, nuclear capable warhead from land to land. Then Attorney General K. Venugopal has been given an extension by another year. All right, so under Article 77, the first law officer of the government of India and of the country is the Attorney General, and he's the one who represents the government at all court proceedings. He is also capable of participating in proceedings of the parliament and is part of the union executives. All right, but he does not formulate a part, or he does not have voting rights. All right, then moving on, P. Sainath selected for Fukuoka Grand Prize. So this is a prize that is given for those people who popularize Asian culture. Established in 1990, the Grand Prize is given annually to distinguished people to foster and increase awareness of Asian culture and create broad network for expansion of mutual learning. The award has been given to a total of 115 people. 11 Indians have received the award earlier. All right, Romila Thapar and Amjad Ali Khan being the prominent names among this. All right, so P. Sainath, noted journalist of India, he's been given the grand prize along with other two recipients. Who are the other two recipients? The other two recipients are Kishi Komoto Miao of Japan, all right, and Prabha Yuan of Thailand. All right, so their name also featuring here. So this is one of the important awards that you need to note down. Then moving on, apart from this, CoWIN portal will now be made open source, in the sense that this portal can now be taken up and amended for different countries. People can borrow the apparatus that is there for CoWIN portal, and it will be provided to 50 nations. All right, that is in Africa and Asia, to lower income countries. It is headed by R.S. Sharma, who is the CEO of National Health Authority, who is the nodal agency for development of the CoWIN application. We can book our COVID slots and find out vaccine availability through CoWIN, right? Then moving on the economic news, Indian government is confident that it will reach the target of disinvestment that it has set out. Till now, the disinvestment has been nil, in the sense big targets have not been achieved. Then moving on the world news, US airstrikes hit Iran-backed militias in Syria, Iraq. So this is once again US putting pressure on Iran that comply with what we want you to do in different areas, or else we will continue with the sanctions that are ongoing on the Iranian economy. This is part of pressure that is being created. Then Bangladesh shuts amid virus surge. So Bangladesh has now gone into lockdown. Similar scenes that were visible in India during lockdown, migrant being stranded, they migrating over on their own, walking, cycling to their host areas. Then the second biggest dam of the world, which is located in China on the Yangtze River or the Yellow River, has now started functioning. Large scale dams have fallen out of favor for two reasons. One, in environmental, they create submergence of environmental area and culture, and two, large scale dams are capable of actually slowing down the rotation of Earth over time. So they create huge tectonic risk and affect the geological situation of the Earth on its own. All right. So therefore, these large dams have been out of favor. All right. So on that note, on the sporting side, nothing of real note. So we'll conclude for the day. The Fukushima Award, very important to be noted down in newspaper, along with the Cowen update, who heads the Cowen platform, and lastly about the law of sedition. Sedition is something that I've told you multiple times is going to be very important from your CLAT perspective. So on that note, thank you so much. See you all tomorrow.